Hello, Chris Richter here, and welcome back again. We're going to look at Font Awesome and how you can just add those cool little fonts to your web-based content using a product called Font Awesome, which is really simple to do. But before that, please check out the courses on the Moodle 4.0. There's a new one out. It's fantastic. Check it out. Also, have a look at the other courses we've got there as well. I'm sure you'll find something interesting and useful. If you need any help, just comment below as well. Let me know. But we're going to look at putting some really cool little fonts that are scalable fonts called Font Awesome, which is part of some LMS platforms. Not all of them, but some of them. And there's a few little strange things you may have to change to make it work. But let's go and have a look at Font Awesome first. Font Awesome is basically just a collection of fonts or a font style type that has a whole stack of icons in it. So let's go and have a look at the icons, and there is so many icons in here. But really important thing is that some of them are paid for, some of them are different versions that may or may not come with your platform. So working that out is where the dilemma happens. Often I suggest you click on free to start with, because that's more likely to be the ones that you've got, and also choose solid, because that's more likely the fonts you'll have as well. So we're going to search for one called user to start with, and you can see user is just there. So if I click on that icon, we get a collection of information about the icon. But the first most important thing is we get some HTML, which we're going to use because we're doing this very simply with just HTML. So let's go. FA solid, FA user is the class that creates this icon. If we go to our web-based content, and this could be in a different LMS, it doesn't have to be in Moodle 4.0, but I'm going to paste the code in as HTML, select save and display, and you'll notice straight away it comes up with some weird icon that does not look the same as this one. Why is that? Because the version of Font Awesome that is on Moodle 4.0 is an earlier version than the one they're talking about when they say FA solid, FA user. So we don't have FA solid as an actual font in Moodle 4.0. So what we need to do is get rid of the solid and just have FA for Font Awesome, FA-user. If we select save and display, you now see we have a little icon just there. So that's nice and simple, but obviously we want to make that more interesting and be able to change the colors and size and all sorts of things. So how do we do that? Simple, jump back to Font Awesome. And we're going to have a look at the documents for Font Awesome. And the easy one is getting started, and this tells you a bit about how Font Awesome is created and what it does, and more information about it. But let's look at some of these things here. So sizing is one of them. So we're going to look at sizing and how to change size of icons. I'm going to skip through the first one because these ones here are more about the latest version. We'll continue on to these ones, which are FA 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. So it's changing the size based on the current size and then multiplying it. And that's the sort of sizing that we want because that scales really well in mobile devices as well. Let's go FA3X, go back to our code, into our HTML. And in our FA user, we're just going to press space and put in FA-3X, save and display. And you'll see already that the icon is now much, much larger. If we go back into our HTML again and change that to say 5x and view, you can see the icon just keeps getting bigger and bigger. So that's resizing. So sizing is one thing. If I jump back to something like, if we go to all styling options, we can do a thing called stack as well. So one thing we can do is called stacking icons, which is clever if we know which icons we're using. And what I'd like to do is show you how we can stack this camera and the line icon, or the band icon. So what we need to do is create a class called FA stack, and then we've made that larger by 2 times as well, which we've already looked at. We grabbed that, but we're using 2 icons one after the other, and because they're stacked in the right order, you will see how one sits above the other. So let's just go to our page and put this in. Now remember, we don't have FA solid on this version of our LMS, so I'm just switching it back to FA so we can have a look, and you'll see there we've got the circle with the line, and then we have the camera behind it. So the camera behind this layer here, first layer, is what gets put on first, and then the next layer is the one that sits above that. And it's called Color Tomato, which is actually red, so you can color your icons as well. If we reverse that though, just to show you, for example, what happens, if we reverse the stack order, you'll see the camera is now in front of the crossed out line, which is not what we want. We want it the other way around. So we'll just put that back again the other way. And that way you can stack icons. Remember, we're using the FA without the extra dash solid or dash whatever, just because of the version of Font Awesome that comes with the default Moodle LMS. Your LMS may be different, so you may need to use FA-solid. But we do have these colors here as well, so we can style, color, and we can change it to blue if we need to, or whatever color you would like to use. We can just go with a straight red instead of tomato. Something else you may want to look at also that is really useful is icon lists. So that's where you have a list of terms, and you may want some tick boxes or check boxes beside them or something like that. That's quite useful to have as well. So let's go and have a look at how we do that. If we go to icons in a list, which is quite simple, we'll just grab this one here as an example. So that's got the class FAUL, which is an unordered list. And then we just need to decide what the icons are that are going to go with each of the items in the list. So let's edit our page, add the content, and just have a look at what it looks like to start with. Now notice the icons have disappeared. They don't make sense. And that's because it's used FAS. We're just going to go back to FA for each of these. And you can see that's taken it back to, we've got tick boxes and we've got a blank box, and we've also got a rotating animation, which I'll show you what that does in a sec, but you can see how that's turned into a list for you with icons, which is absolutely perfect. If we look at the HTML, you can see there that we have FA-spinner, FA pulse, which is basically making a spinner that pulses around or goes around or rotates around. That allows you to add sort of animations in there too, which is just one extra thing. There is many things you can do with Font Awesome, so I advise you to check it all out, have a look. Just remember that depending on the version that you have, you may need to change the first part of the class from FA- or FAR, FAS to just FA if you have an earlier version. If you've got a later version of Font Awesome running on your platform, then obviously you'll be able to use some of the more recent or more current transformations and icons. So when you do go in and look for icons in Font Awesome, don't panic if you find that that icon doesn't work. Go through and change it back to the settings to get the at least free, because that's more likely what they've got. The solid ones are more likely to be part of what you have as well. And then you can just try out each one of them and change that to FA instead, or leave it as FA solid if you happen to have the solid version. Remember, there are also FA regular, FA light, FA thin, and FA duotone, which are all part of the different packages or the different builds that Font Awesome has. So hopefully that's useful to you. Check it all out and make use of that in your content, because it will really help just add that bit extra to all of your content, make it look heaps better. Definitely worth a look. Don't forget to check out the courses down in the description, and I hope that's been useful to you. I'll see you in the next video.